Now, the one technique that changed my painting process as a whole and quite dramatically was finally understanding brush pressure. I think this is something that impacts every subject you will ever paint, and quite dramatically so. It's something that will change from subject to subject and even throughout subjects. Now, here, I'm painting a sky to begin with, and as you can see, we don't have any streaks, it's quite soft, and that is because I'm applying paint, at least in my final applications, with a very soft brush pressure. This means that we're not going to be rendering streaks on the edges of our markings. It means that we are just working over the canvas, making micro adjustments. But when I begin applying the sky, I apply with more pressure, because when you apply with more pressure, you can move around more paint more easily. It does render streaks and such, but you essentially transition while painting a sky from applying a lot of pressure to then applying a very minimal amount of pressure. Now, this is also important when we're rendering things like the sun that you just watched, in that I applied it with the liner brush and I applied it with very minimal pressure. That way I could work around the sun and give it that nice hazy look. Again, you're going to bounce back and forth between this throughout every subject in your painting. When you're painting mountains, as I do here, you can see that chalky aesthetic towards the bottom of them. That's because I'm applying more pressure with my brush, and I'm just trying to move more paint around. But when I'm applying the tops of the mountains, like you see here, whether it be with the liner or the larger flat-headed brush, I go in with a much softer application, and this is going to allow me to work with greater detail. It's also going to ensure that throughout that process, I don't accidentally make my application much larger, especially when you're working with that liner brush, because when you're working with that, you probably want very small, sharp applications. And when you apply a lot of pressure, again, you expand the bristles of the brush, you don't quite get the application that you want. So that's something that I initially did not understand when I was painting, and it rendered quite a few headaches, because I would essentially go in to start with the sky, as one does, because you work background to foreground, and I would apply all of this pressure, and I would keep applying all of that pressure because I would need to move around a lot of paint in the sky, and it would be so streaky. And I remember just thinking, if I could only get through this sky, I could get to the rest of the painting and I could make it great. And that was just one of those little things, those little changes in my head and understanding of technique that made all of my paintings so much more easy. There was a flow to it. It made sense. Now, I will note there are additional ways, of course, that you can make paint actually flow, and therefore your process flow. You can add a little bit of water to it. I find that actually really helps when I'm applying those softer, larger gradients and blends. And so I'm always dipping my brush over in the water, taking off the excess. You don't want too much water when you're rendering those soft movements, because then you can have a little bit of water build up in certain areas. And once that water has built up in that area, it's difficult to get that area to take and attach paint. So you really want to be careful with it, but I do recommend continuously practicing with it until the point where you do feel comfortable, because it can be such a great tool for those softer applications. Now here we're working on a base layer in the greenery towards the bottom, and with that I was really just applying paint pretty thickly, and that means I was using pressure. I didn't care if there was line work or if there were sharp edges, because I knew I was going to go over it later on. I find that often is the process with larger subjects. You go in with a great deal of paint and you ensure that it's relatively thick, and you kind of avoid the idea of the actual application, because it doesn't matter, because you're going to put a second and a third and a fourth layer on top. Here I'm going around the edges with a little bit more intentionality. I'm doing a soft tap here around these very small pieces of foliage. I'm going in with the least amount of pressure possible, because I want the most amount of detail possible. And this is one of those processes where initially I thought I was going in with a very minimal amount of pressure, but as I continued it, I got a little bit better. I got the rust off, and because of that, I was able to get my markings even smaller. I was able to apply even less pressure. Sometimes it does take some practice. Even if you've been painting for a decade and a half or two, sometimes that practice does just take a little while to kick in the painting process, and at this point it has. So when I'm going in and I'm painting all of this foliage down here, I'm not having any struggles in rendering larger foliage than I want. It's also worth noting that I'm using the liner brush to create all of this foliage. However, the foliage that is closest to us is going to look larger, the markings are going to be larger, and the markings a bit farther away in the distance are going to be a lot smaller. Despite the fact that I'm using the same brush, I'm just changing the amount of pressure that I'm applying with the brush to get a different effect, and it's quite staggered. That way it too is a gradient, but it's one that is done through a pattern rather than a softer application. That's also important to recognize with your brush pressure and your applications. But this is one of those things that probably took me, really looking back on it, 3 years to get right. And I mean really right, to the point where it's intuitive. And to get there, I think it's one of those things where you stay cognizant, you stay mindful, you ask yourself, okay, what is the purpose of the paint that I'm putting down right now? Is it a base layer? Is it a detail? Does that require a lot or a little bit of pressure? You're asking yourself that question, and eventually you don't have to ask that question anymore. It becomes second nature. But you do have to start by asking that question, and it can be kind of fun. You do find commonalities between subjects. You also recognize that you're bouncing back and forth between pressures in almost all subjects to a degree. Here, I'm really fighting the urge to apply more pressure because I want to create these faster than is, I guess, advised. But you know, I go in with the initial layers and they're quite thin because they have very little pressure. And then sometimes I say, oh, you know what, I'll just apply a little bit more. And then I get a very big marking, much larger than I want. So I have to work it back and I have to go back and balance things. And that really does speak to the fact that patience is also a virtue when painting, when thinking about pressure, especially when you have subjects that are fairly repetitive, much like these. So do recognize that, yeah, you can get a more opaque marking with more pressure, with more paint. You can get more of a sketched look with less pressure. Often the best subjects are rendered through both. This certainly was. I did the base almost drawing in paint in a very soft application, and I went back in with slightly more pressure. Again, after building that confidence, after feeling a larger familiarity with the subject, the medium, what I was doing. But it was very relevant in the sky, it was relevant in the mountains, it was relevant in the foliage, and here it's certainly relevant in our main subjects as well. So something that does continuously present. And I will say, this painting right here, so much fun. I live in Toronto, Ontario, so I live in the big city, and I grew up around a lot of nature, so I have this real affinity for nature, but I didn't grow up in a setting that was particularly tropical, and palm trees are something that I don't often get to see, so it's not something that I often paint. But I think with summer hitting, I did a lot of daydreaming, and that daydreaming led me here, and I had such a fun time painting this. I hope that comes across in the actual painting and the lesson. I will note that if you'd like the full real-time version of this lesson, where I do walk you through every step, I explain it step by step, then that is up over on Patreon. There is a link in the video description that will take you to the full 2-hour-long lesson. In addition to that, you will also find the full real-time drawing lesson, which essentially walks you through the process of doing the sketch that you saw at the start of the video. So if you're somebody who would like to spend some more time with this piece in particular, you can do so with either the painting or the drawing lesson. You could also do both. And you can also find the traceable there to make the drawing process easy if that's something you find you struggle with. But I will say this one, so much fun. And I think it was a real great test for applying pressure with the brush. If that's something that you don't often think about, I highly implore you to start thinking about it, because I do think it will make a great change in your painting. And I'd also like to know what you think of this video in general. It's a new style of video where I figured I'd just turn on the camera, do a little chat to the time lapse, and that way if you are up over on Patreon and you have the full lesson, here you can watch the quicker version to get an understanding of what the painting is going to be before you jump into the longer version. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully it's useful. Hopefully these thoughts have been a little helpful. But I'd also love to know what your big tip is for other artists. Leave it in the comments so everybody can kind of scroll and learn together, and that way we can all, grow as a community and just continue enjoying this wonderful medium that we all love. I'm a big fan of the fact that we are all still making tangible, practical art in 2026, and I intend to do so. I hope you do too. With that, thank you as always for being here. I will see you soon with a brand new painting lesson. And again, if you'd like to support the channel, do so up over on Patreon, while also getting all of the real-time bonus lessons, the drawing videos, the traceables, and all of that. As always, stay creative.